six of us made the very difficult decision to leave Mr. Beverly's employ.
We had basically a breakdown in communication with the new management company that took over after our former management suddenly passed away.
Was Maze's biggest problem the industry or themselves? I mean, Frankie Beverly and Maze was one of the greatest R&B bands, but many people don't know the Frankie stuck to his guns to a fault, wouldn't change or evolve the sound of the band, and ran the band like a dictatorship. So, naturally, they'll run into some scuffles in the industry. What struggles did they face? Why didn't they get the same awards as other big artists? Also, it would seem that Frankie isn't as innocent and sweet as he looks. He had an affair with his big brother's wife, Marvin Gaye's wife.
He was such like a big brother to me.
There were times, but you have to think about the fact that we're talking about the early 70s.
Things were a little different then, huh?
Things were a lot different then.
In this video, we'll reveal the hidden truths about Frankie Beverly and Maze. Frankie Beverly and Maze are one of the most respected and loved soul and R&B groups. Even though they have a huge fan base, they never became mainstream. They never won big awards or dominated music charts, but their music is powerful, soulful, and honest. For almost 30 years, they have made music that touches people's hearts. Their sound is different from other groups. It is smooth, passionate, and full of deep emotions. Frankie once said, "We have come this far because we love and respect ourselves and our fans. Most of all, we believe in what we do." Frankie Beverly's music journey started in Philadelphia, but he later moved to San Francisco, where he formed the group Maze. In 1976, they released their first album, Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. This album had hit songs like Lady of Magic,
Lady of Magic,
and Workin' Together.
Let's not forget.
These songs helped the group gain attention and build a loyal fan base. The music was different from the usual R&B sounds at the time. It had deep meaning, smooth melodies, and strong emotions. Maze was not just about making hit songs. They focused on making music that people could feel and connect with. During the 1980s, the group became even more popular. They released albums like Golden Time of Day, Inspiration, and Joy and Pain. These albums had famous songs like Travelin' Man, Feel That You're Feelin', Joy and Pain, Look in Your Eyes, and Southern Girl. Their music was loved by many, and their live shows became legendary. People loved going to their concerts because of the energy and excitement they brought to the stage. They released a live album, Live in New Orleans, which captured the magic of their performances. This album also included the hit song Running Away. In 1983, they released the album We Are One. This album made them even more popular internationally. Songs like We Are One, Never Let You Down, I Love You Too Much,
I just love you much,
and Love Is the Key became fan favorites.
love is the key to life.
Even Even though they had many great songs, they still did not receive big awards or recognition from the music industry. But that did not stop them. They continued to make music and grow their fan base. As the 1980s came to an end, they released more albums, including Can't Stop the Love and Maze, featuring Frankie Beverly live in LA. The live album was a special project because it celebrated their journey so far and reminded fans why Maze was one of the best soul groups. As the years passed, Maze faced changes in their record label and group members. But instead of letting these changes slow them down, they used them as a chance to improve. Frankie Beverly wanted to make sure the music stayed true to its roots. They released Silky Soul, which became one of their most successful albums. This album had popular songs like I Can't Get Over You
Now I realize I can't get over.
and Silky Soul.
Silky, silky soul singer.
These songs proved that Maze was still as strong as ever. After touring for a long time across North America and Europe, the group decided to take a break. Frankie said, "When you want to give people your best, you need to be patient." They wanted to come back even stronger, and they did just that. They released Back to Basics, an album that had hit songs like Laid Back Girl
I'm a laid back kind of guy.
The Morning After, and What Goes Up. Fans loved it because it captured the passion and energy that made Maze special. Even though they never got the same attention as some mainstream artists, Maze remained one of the most requested groups at music festivals. They performed for huge crowds and gave new artists a chance to shine. Singers like Toni Braxton, Regina Belle, and Anita Baker got exposure thanks to Maze. They believed in helping other artists grow, just like they had grown over the years. Recently, they released a 20-track double CD called Anthology. This album includes their most loved and successful songs. It is proof that their music is timeless. The AllMusic Guide said, Frankie Beverly and Maze may be the ultimate urban contemporary group, much more soulful and funky than many of their counterparts. Even though they never won big awards, they continue to sell out concerts. Their fans know the truth. Maze is the best-kept secret in the music industry. Frankie Beverly and his band, Maze, never changed their music to fit mainstream trends. While other R&B groups tried to make their sound more pop to get more radio play, Frankie Beverly stayed true to his soulful style. He believed in making real, heartfelt music for his fans, not just for fame or money. This is why Maze's music remains special and respected. Frankie Beverly has been making music for over 60 years. His band has released several hit albums and songs, many of which became big successes without needing pop radio. Maze's albums sold well, and many reached the top of the R&B charts. But their biggest success came from live shows. They have been one of the most popular concert acts for years, making more money from ticket sales than from records. Their music has been the soundtrack of Black culture for decades. Frankie Beverly grew up in a home where music was always present. His mother, father, and brother all sang, but none of them took it as seriously as he did. From a young age, he knew music was his path. He joined groups early on, and one of those groups was Raw Soul. Philadelphia played a big role in Frankie's life.
A lot of good acts out of Philly, a lot of talented people out of Philly. I owe a lot of what I am today to that town.
He learned so much from being in that city. Many talented musicians came from Philly, and he felt lucky to be part of that scene. He believed Philly shaped him into the artist he became. The city gave him a strong foundation in music, and he always felt grateful for that. One of the biggest moments in Frankie's career was meeting Marvin Gaye. Marvin was already a huge star, and for Frankie, meeting him was a life-changing experience. Marvin was more than just a famous singer. He became like a big brother to Frankie. He saw something special in Frankie and his group.
He was like a big brother to me.
Marvin Gaye didn't just admire them from a distance. He got involved in their music. He even helped them with a Christmas holiday event. This support was very important to Frankie. At the time, he was still very young, and having someone like Marvin believe in him gave him confidence. Marvin's guidance helped shape Frankie's career. But people have wondered, did Marvin feel threatened by Maze's success? Marvin and Frankie had a close relationship in the beginning. Marvin believed in Frankie's talent and gave him big opportunities. He took Frankie and Maze on tour and helped introduce them to a larger audience. It seemed like Marvin was a mentor to Frankie, but behind the scenes, things got complicated, especially because of Marvin's wife, Janice Gaye.
What age were you?
I was 17. Well, I was that time I was 16.
Wow.
And by the time I met Marvin, I had just turned 17.
Janice later revealed shocking details about her marriage to Marvin in her 2015 book, After the Dance: My Life with Marvin Gaye. She explained that Marvin had a habit of setting her up with other men. He enjoyed seeing her with them and even arranged these situations himself.
There were times, but you have to think about the fact that we're talking about the early 70s.
Things were a little different then, huh?
Things were a lot different then.
One of the men Marvin pushed her toward was Frankie Beverly. Marvin noticed that Janice and Frankie had a certain chemistry. Instead of stopping it, he made it easier for them to be together. He booked a hotel room for Frankie and then placed Janice in the room right next to him. Marvin told her that he needed time alone to focus on his music, but in reality, he was setting up an opportunity for Janice and Frankie. At first, things were awkward between Janice and Frankie. They both knew that Marvin had arranged the situation, and it felt strange. One night, they were in Janice's room, smoking a joint and talking. Then, suddenly, there was a loud knock on the door. It was Marvin. Frankie panicked. He didn't want to be caught in a bad situation, so instead of answering the door, he dropped to the floor and crawled back to his own room on his hands and knees. When Marvin entered, he found Janice alone. But this was only the beginning. Even though Marvin had arranged the first meeting, Janice and Frankie continued seeing each other behind his back. She later admitted that she had a real affair with Frankie, as well as another famous singer, Teddy Pendergrass. At the time, she was only 22 years old, but she felt trapped in her marriage to Marvin. She said she was acting out of anger because Marvin controlled her life in so many ways. Marvin and Janice had a very toxic relationship. They had terrible fights, and sometimes things got dangerous. Janice recalled one time when Marvin was driving with her and their kids in the car. He was so angry that he started swerving on the road and threatened to crash the car. Their marriage was filled with pain, jealousy, and emotional battles. Even though Frankie Beverly had been involved with Marvin's wife, he never spoke badly about Marvin in public. In interviews, Frankie always showed respect toward Marvin. He was grateful for the help Marvin gave him in his career and never tried to make their personal problems public.
I was so young then, But he was a good guy, man. Really changed my life. Got it going.
Frankie later paid tribute to Marvin Gaye in the song Silky Soul. This song honored Marvin and everything he had done for him.
Silky, silky soul singer.
It was a way of saying thank you to someone who had played a big role in his success. Marvin's influence stayed with Frankie throughout his career. Looking back, Frankie always felt grateful for the people who helped him along the way. From his early days in Philly to his time in California, he had met many talented and kind people.
A lot of good acts out of Philly, a lot of talented people out of Philly. I owe a lot of what I am today to that town.
But Marvin Gaye was one of the most important. His support and belief in Frankie made a huge difference in his life. Frankie never forgot what Marvin did for him, and he carried that inspiration with him throughout his career. So, did Marvin feel threatened by Maze's success? It's hard to say for sure. He supported Frankie in the music industry, but their personal problems made things complicated. Marvin had his own struggles, and his marriage to Janice was full of betrayal and pain. Whether he was jealous of Maze or not, one thing is clear. His relationship with Frankie Beverly was about more than just music.
We've had our good times, good times, good times, good times. That's not the best.
Frankie was deeply touched when Beyoncé covered his song Before I Let Go. He called it one of the high points of my life. The song was originally released in 1981 and became a major hit, especially in R&B music. Over the years, it became a classic, played at family gatherings, cookouts, and parties. When Beyoncé decided to remake it, it introduced the song to a whole new generation. Frankie Beverly never expected this, but he was overjoyed when he heard her version.
We've had our good times, good times, good times, good times. That's not the best.
Beverly had no idea that Beyoncé was working on this cover. Even though they were friends, she kept it a secret. He had heard rumors, but he didn't ask her about it. One day, her team called him and played the song for him. That was the first time he heard it. He was completely surprised and blown away.
Saying she kept it quiet until her people called me one day, maybe a week or two ago. When they played it, that's when I heard the first draft of it and I was blown away.
He couldn't believe how good it sounded. He felt lucky and blessed. He also admired how smart she was. She didn't just release the song in a normal way. She made it special. He was impressed by how she handled everything. He also spoke about her kindness. He called her a sweet person, very humble and religious. That made him respect her even more.
He went on to describe what it meant to him to have someone like Beyoncé cover a song, especially since he's seen her firsthand grow into such an icon.
Frankie and Beyoncé had known each other for a long time. He first met her when she was a teenager. Her mother brought her to a Maze concert at the Houston Rodeo. At that time, she wasn't famous yet. She was just a young girl who loved his music. He didn't know much about her back then, but over the years, they worked together a few times, and he saw how kind and talented she was. When she covered his song, she didn't make a big deal out of it. She just did it because she loved the song. That's one of the things he admired most about her. She didn't do it for attention. She did it out of respect. The original song Before I Let Go was written during a difficult time in Frankie Beverly's life. He was in a relationship that wasn't working. He loved the woman, but things weren't going well. He felt torn. He knew he had to leave, but it wasn't easy. That's when he wrote the song. The lyrics came from his real emotions. He was thinking about all the things he wanted to do before finally walking away. Even though it was a sad situation, the music came out happy and upbeat. It was a gift from God. That's why the song has such a unique feel. It talks about heartbreak, but it still makes people want to dance. That's what makes it special. Even though Before I Let Go was released in 1981, it has never faded. It has remained popular for decades. At first, Frankie Beverly thought it was just a great little song. He had no idea it would last so long. But people connected with it, and it became one of his biggest hits. Over time, it became a song that every generation enjoyed. It was played at weddings, family reunions, and big celebrations. It became a tradition.
Oh, before I let go. All right.
Now, after Beyoncé covered it, even more people are discovering it. Younger fans who never knew about Maze are now listening to their music. Frankie Beverly said he feels more famous now than ever before. He has been hearing from people he hasn't talked to in years. Some fans who grew up with his music are now introducing it to their kids. It's like the song has been given new life. This isn't the first time someone has covered a Frankie Beverly song. Many artists have remade his music, but Beyoncé's version stands out. The way she did it was different. She put her own spin on it, but she also stayed true to the original. Frankie Beverly felt honored that she chose his song. He never imagined something like this would happen, especially so many years later. It was a big moment for him. Because of this cover, Frankie Beverly is experiencing a fresh wave of attention. He hasn't done many interviews in recent years, but now people want to talk to him again. He feels like his music is reaching more people than ever before. He's grateful for what Beyoncé did. She didn't just cover a song, she brought new life to it. She introduced it to millions of new listeners. For many years, fans of Maze honored the group by wearing white clothes at concerts. This was because the band often dressed in white while performing. It became a special tradition that made the shows feel even more special. Maze had many talented members over the years. One of them was McKinley "Bug" Williams, who played percussion and sang in the background. Sadly, he passed away from a heart attack. His death was a big loss for the group and their fans. In 2023, there was a disagreement between some band members and Frankie's management. Because of this, some longtime members left the band. They started their own group called TMF, The Music Forever. Even though they left, Frankie Beverly continued performing with new members chosen by his team. Later that year, Frankie decided to retire from music. His last 2 concerts were in Philadelphia, where he grew up. It was a fitting way to end his career in the place that meant so much to him. After he retired, the band changed its name to Maze, honoring Frankie Beverly. They also introduced a new lead singer, Tony Lindsay, who used to sing for Santana. Sadly, Frankie Beverly passed away from a heart attack at the age of 77. His family shared the news and said he was a man who loved music, family, and friends. They asked for privacy during their time of grief. Even after his passing, his music continued to reach more people. Songs like Before I Let Go, Joy and Pain, and Golden Time of Day all became popular again. They even reached the top of some music charts. Because of this renewed interest, Before I Let Go recently earned a platinum certification, meaning it has sold over 1 million copies. This is a big achievement, especially since it took over 40 years. It shows that great music never dies. Frankie Beverly and Maze created a song that still makes people feel good after so many years. Beyoncé's version may have introduced the song to new listeners, but it was already a classic. Fans, both old and new, now celebrate the legacy of Frankie Beverly. His music continues to bring people together, just as he would have wanted.
You guys have kept us around for 4 decades now. Some of y'all wasn't even born then, man.
As Frankie got older, Frankie felt something big was about to happen in his life. He believed God had a plan for him. He had always been a believer since he was a child. He grew up in a family that loved God and music. His uncles and aunts sang in church, and faith was very important in his life. Now he felt that his faith was pushing him towards something even bigger. He didn't know exactly what it was, but he could feel it coming. Frankie was always a man with a big heart. He wanted to help people whenever he could. One time, after Hurricane Katrina, he saw a man stranded on the roof of his house. The man had lost everything. Frankie didn't just feel sorry for him. He took action. He asked his assistant to find out who the man was and where he was staying. When he found out, Frankie bought the man and his children a new home. Sadly, the man's wife was never found, but Frankie made sure the family had a safe place to live. This showed the kind of person he was. He didn't help for attention or praise. He did it because he truly cared. His kindness came from his upbringing. His parents and grandparents taught him to be loving and giving. That was just the way the Beverly family was. They believed in sharing what they had and lifting others up. Frankie carried that same spirit with him throughout his life.